As I sit here surrounded by the memories of a lifetime, I'm reminded of the woman who shaped my childhood with her unwavering love and wisdom. My grandmother Aurora was an open book, or so I thought. Her blue eyes sparkled like a summer sky on a cloudless day, and her hugs had the power to heal any pain. I often joked that she was the sunshine in our family's life, warming every corner with her presence. But little did I know, behind those twinkling eyes and gentle smiles lay a story so extraordinary, so filled with secrets and sacrifice, that it would shatter everything I thought I knew about her, and about ourselves. It was on the day of her passing that I stumbled upon a truth that would change me forever. While going through her belongings, I found an old wooden box hidden away in her attic. The box itself was unassuming, with intricate carvings that seemed to whisper tales of their own. As I opened it, a worn leather diary slipped into my hands, its pages yellowed with age. I recognized the diary from her dresser, but never thought much of it. It was as if she had deliberately concealed it, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets. And now, as I held it, I felt an inexplicable sense of trepidation. The moment I opened the diary, a wave of nostalgia washed over me. The handwriting was unmistakably Aurora's, yet the words within spoke of a life I had never known. A life of love, of loss, of choices made in the face of unimaginable hardship. As I began to read, the world around me melted away, and I was transported to a time when my grandmother was a young woman, navigating the complexities of love and loyalty amidst historical turmoil. I discovered hints of a forbidden love, a love that endured despite the odds, and a legacy that was hidden away for safekeeping. With every turned page, I realized that the woman I thought I knew was merely a facade, a carefully crafted narrative to shield us from the truth. The more I read, the more I understood that Aurora's life was a testament to the enduring power of love and sacrifice. And as I share her story with you, I invite you to join me on a journey through generations, a journey that unveils secrets, reveals hidden treasures, and reminds us that even in the darkest times, love prevails. Over the next chapters, I'll take you through the trials and triumphs of Aurora's life, a life that was both ordinary and extraordinary, filled with moments of joy and heartache. You'll meet the people who shaped her world, and you'll discover the choices she made to protect those she loved. You'll uncover the truth about the lost treasure, a treasure that has been hidden for decades, and you'll see how its legacy continues to impact our lives today. Through it all, I hope you'll find solace in Aurora's story, and that it will inspire you to reflect on your own family's history, your own stories of love and sacrifice. For in the end, it's these stories that define us, that give our lives meaning and purpose. And as I share Aurora's story with you, I hope you'll join me in celebrating the power of love to transform, to heal, and to endure. Willow Creek in the late 1930s was a haven of tranquility, a small rural town where time seemed to stand still. Nestled in the heart of the countryside, it was a place where everyone knew each other's names, and the air was sweet with the scent of blooming wildflowers. The town's simplicity was its charm, with dirt roads that wound through the rolling hills, and old oak trees that provided shade for the sidewalks. It was a place where life moved at a gentle pace, dictated by the rhythms of nature. In this idyllic setting, a young Aurora grew up, her spirit as free as the birds that sang in the morning. She was a dreamer with eyes that sparkled like the stars on a clear night, and a heart full of wonder. Aurora loved to read, getting lost in the pages of old books that she found in the dusty corners of the local library. Her imagination would run wild with the stories of far-off lands, of brave heroes and heroines, and of adventures that seemed to call to her. Aurora's family was the bedrock of her world. Her parents, hard-working farmers who tilled the land with love and care, instilled in her a deep appreciation for the simple things in life. Her older brother Thomas was a young man with a passion for flying, who would spend hours poring over books on aviation, his eyes shining with excitement. And then there was Lily, her younger sister, a gentle soul with a poetic heart, who saw the world through the lens of a fairy tale. The family's days were filled with the routines of farm life. Mornings began before dawn, with Aurora and her siblings helping their parents in the fields. The air would be crisp and cool, with a hint of dew on the grass. As the sun climbed higher, the work would shift to the house, with chores and lessons filling the hours. But evenings were a different story altogether. The family would gather on the porch, watching the stars twinkle to life, and listening to Thomas regale them with tales of his flying dreams. Aurora would sit quietly, her nose buried in a book, while Lily would spin tales of magical kingdoms. In this peaceful world, Aurora felt a growing sense of restlessness, a feeling that there was more to life than the familiar rhythms of Willow Creek. It was a subtle stirring, a whisper of discontent that she couldn't quite articulate. She felt a yearning for something more, something that lay beyond the horizon. It was a feeling that both thrilled and terrified her, like the promise of a storm on a summer's day. The calm was about to be shattered, but for now, the tranquility of Willow Creek held sway, a soothing balm for the soul. As the seasons changed in Willow Creek, a sense of unease began to seep into the tranquil lives of its residents. It started with hushed conversations at the local diner, where farmers and shopkeepers spoke of distant wars and rising tensions in Europe. The radio, once a source of news and entertainment, now broadcast warnings of an impending storm. Aurora's family listened with growing concern as the news anchor's voice grew more serious, speaking of Nazi Germany's aggressive expansion and the threat it posed to global peace. Thomas, ever the adventurer, saw the war as a call to action, a chance to fly planes and fight for his country. His parents, however, were more cautious, worrying about the safety of their farm, their livelihood, and their children. Aurora, meanwhile, struggled to comprehend the complexity of it all. She had always believed in the goodness of people, in the inherent kindness that bound communities together. But as the news of war drew closer, she began to question whether the world was indeed just, or if it was a chaotic mess, where the strong preyed on the weak. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the town, a stranger arrived in Willow Creek. He was a young man in a military uniform, his eyes piercing and his jawline sharp. Aurora, out walking in the fading light, noticed him standing by the old oak tree, his gaze scanning the town as if searching for someone. Their eyes met, and for a fleeting moment, the world around them melted away. There was something about this stranger that drew her in, a sense of mystery and danger that both thrilled and terrified her. As the stranger made his way into town, Aurora couldn't help but feel a sense of curiosity, a growing sense that her life was about to take a dramatic turn. Little did she know this enigmatic young man, Elias, carried a secret mission, one that would entwine his fate with hers, and draw her into a world where love and war were perilously intertwined. The peaceful life of Willow Creek was about to be shattered, and Aurora's own heart would soon be caught in the crossfire of history. As the days turned into weeks, Aurora and Elias's secret meetings became more frequent, always under the guise of stolen moments. They'd find solace in the old barn, surrounded by the sweet scent of hay and the soft murmur of crickets, or in the sunflower field, where the tall stalks seemed to shield them from the prying eyes of the world. Their love blossomed in these hidden spaces, a beacon of hope in the darkening world. With each passing moment, Aurora felt Elias's presence becoming more integral to her existence, like the gentle warmth of a summer breeze that refuses to fade. Elias, too, found comfort in Aurora's company, a respite from the weight of his mission. He'd been sent to Willow Creek with a purpose, to find and secure a powerful encryption device, an artifact that could change the course of the war. But as he looked into Aurora's eyes, he knew he couldn't do it without her. He had to trust her, to tell her the truth about his identity and his quest. One evening, as they sat together on the edge of the sunflower field, watching the stars twinkle to life, Elias took Aurora's hand and began to reveal his story. "I am not who you think I am, Aurora," he said, his voice low and urgent. "I'm a German scientist, a deserter. I've been hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to find the artifact." Aurora's heart skipped a beat as she listened, her mind racing with questions and fears. But as she looked at Elias, she saw the sincerity in his eyes, the desperation to do what was right. The artifact, Elias explained, was a device capable of encrypting and decrypting messages, a tool that could tip the balance of power in the war. It was hidden in a secret labyrinth beneath the old church, a labyrinth left by his mentor, a clockmaker who had been a part of a secret resistance. Aurora's eyes widened as she listened, her imagination running wild with the thought of ancient passages and hidden chambers. As Elias spoke, the air seemed to thicken with tension. The once peaceful town of Willow Creek was now a hotbed of suspicion and fear. Nazi agents disguised as civilians had begun to appear in town, their eyes scanning the streets as if searching for something or someone. Aurora felt the noose tightening, the danger escalating with each passing day. The diary, her sole confidant, became a repository of her deepest fears and desires. She wrote of her love for Elias, of her growing determination to stand by him, even as the world around her seemed to be falling apart. The words poured out of her like tears, a cathartic release of emotions she dare not speak aloud. One night, as they explored the dusty passages under the church, the lantern casting eerie shadows on the walls, Elias turned to Aurora with a look of resolve. "I need your help," he said, his voice firm but gentle. "I need you to trust me, to trust us." Aurora nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew she had a choice to make, one that would change her life forever. She could turn back, return to the safety of her family's farm, or she could step forward into the unknown with Elias by her side. The decision, once made, felt like a weight lifting off her shoulders. She was no longer just a passive observer. She was an active participant in Elias's mission, a partner in his quest to prevent the artifact from falling into the wrong hands. As they navigated the labyrinth, the air thick with the scent of old stone and decay, Aurora felt a sense of purpose she had never known before. She was no longer just Aurora, the girl from Willow Creek. She was a woman on a mission, driven by love and a desire to do what was right. As they navigated the winding underground labyrinth, the air grew thick with anticipation. Aurora's heart pounded in her chest, her senses heightened by the dim light and the weight of their mission. Elias's eyes locked onto hers, his gaze burning with determination. They had been searching for what felt like hours, the silence broken only by the sound of dripping water and their labored breathing. Finally, a faint glow appeared in the distance. The clockmaker's hidden chamber. With reverence, Elias pushed aside the ancient stones, revealing a small, ornate box within. Aurora's hands trembled as she reached for it, her mind racing with the implications of their discovery. This artifact, a device of encryption, could change the course of the war. But their triumph was short-lived. The sound of footsteps echoed through the labyrinth, growing louder with each passing moment. Nazi agents, their faces twisted with malice, emerged from the shadows. Elias instinctively pushed Aurora behind him, his eyes flashing with a fierce protectiveness. The confrontation was chaotic, the labyrinthine passages becoming a deadly maze. Aurora's knowledge of the labyrinth proved invaluable, as she led Elias through narrow tunnels and hidden alcoves, dodging gunfire and grasping hands. The air was thick with tension, the sound of gunshots and screams echoing off the stone walls. Elias fought valiantly, but he was wounded, his movements slowing. Aurora's heart twisted with fear as she realized he was faltering. With a surge of adrenaline, she grabbed his arm, pulling him toward her. "We have to get out of here," she urged, but Elias's eyes were fixed on the artifact. As they stumbled through the darkness, the agents closing in, Elias made a desperate decision. With a final glance at Aurora, he pushed her toward the exit, the artifact clutched in her hand. "Take it," he whispered, his voice strained. "You have to get it out of here. Keep it safe." Aurora's eyes filled with tears as she realized what he was doing. "No, Elias, no," she screamed, but he was resolute. With a fierce determination, he turned to face their pursuers, buying Aurora just enough time to escape. As she stumbled through the labyrinth, the artifact clutched to her chest. Aurora felt Elias's sacrifice like a physical blow. The weight of her grief was crushing, her heart shattered into a million pieces. But even in her pain, she knew she couldn't falter. Elias had entrusted her with this mission, and she would see it through. The diary she had discovered earlier seemed to whisper Elias's words in her ear. "Love is the greatest sacrifice of all." Aurora's eyes burned with tears as she emerged into the bright sunlight, the artifact secure in her possession. She knew that her life would never be the same, that she carried not only the weight of Elias's sacrifice but also the promise of their love. The diary would become her testament, a reminder of the power of love and courage in the face of overwhelming darkness. As I emerged from the labyrinth, the darkness seemed to swallow me whole, and the rain-soaked night air clung to my skin like a damp shroud. My heart was heavy, weighed down by the loss of Elias, the love we shared, and the sacrifice he made for me. The artifact, now a tangible connection to him, felt both precious and burdensome in my hands. I stumbled through the night, driven by a singular focus, to escape the labyrinth, to escape the pain, but most of all to honor Elias's memory. Upon returning home, I found solace in the familiar surroundings, but my grief was a palpable, suffocating presence. My parents and siblings noticed my change, but I couldn't bring myself to share the truth. Elias's death was reported as an accident, a tragic occurrence that shook our small community. I played the part of the bereaved, all the while concealing the weight of my secret. The diary, now my sole confidant, became a sanctuary where I could express the depth of my sorrow and the magnitude of the promise I carried. As the days passed, I struggled to maintain a facade of normalcy, attending to my daily routines with a sense of detachment. My family, though concerned, couldn't fathom the extent of my emotional turmoil. I felt isolated, a stranger in my own home, as I grappled with the enormity of Elias's sacrifice and the responsibility that now rested on my shoulders. In the quiet moments, I began to pore over Elias's notes and study the artifact, seeking to understand its purpose and the mission he entrusted to me. The diary became a guide, a beacon of light in the darkness. As I navigated the complexities of my new reality, I started to frequent the local library, immersing myself in books and research, driven by a nascent resolve to honor Elias's legacy. The pain of his loss still lingered, a raw, aching wound, but with each passing day, a sense of determination began to take root. I knew that I had to fulfill Elias's mission, to ensure that his sacrifice wasn't in vain. As I sat in the library surrounded by dusty tomes and flickering fluorescent lights, I felt a sense of purpose begin to crystallize. I would uncover the secrets of the artifact, and in doing so, I would keep Elias's memory alive. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, but I was no longer alone. I had the diary, Elias's words, and the artifact to guide me. As I stepped off the train and into the bustling city, the cacophony of sounds and the sea of faces enveloped me, offering a sense of anonymity I desperately craved. Willow Creek, with its familiar streets and comforting rhythms, was now a memory, a bittersweet reminder of what I had lost and what I had gained. The city, with its towering buildings and endless possibilities, beckoned me to start anew. I found a modest apartment in a quiet neighborhood, a place that felt like mine, where I could retreat from the world and focus on the mission that Elias had entrusted to me. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, as I immersed myself in research. Libraries and archives became my sanctuaries, where I pored over books, maps, and documents, seeking to understand the artifact that Elias had left behind. His diary, with its cryptic notes and sketches, was my constant companion, guiding me through the labyrinth of codes and ciphers. I consulted experts discreetly, careful not to arouse suspicion, and slowly but surely, the artifact's true power began to reveal itself to me. It was more than a simple encryption device. It was a powerful tool for intelligence, capable of deciphering enemy codes and predicting strategic movements. As I delved deeper into the world of espionage, I began to transform, to adapt to the demands of my secret life. I developed skills in observation, discretion, and counterintelligence, becoming a self-taught agent driven by necessity and my promise to Elias. I recall the first time I successfully deciphered a coded message, my heart racing with excitement and a sense of pride. I was in a crowded cafe, surrounded by the murmur of conversations and the clinking of cups, when I noticed a suspicious individual lingering by the door. I subtly evaded their gaze, blending into the crowd, and made a mental note to report the incident. The Nazi threat was still very real, with agents actively searching for the artifact, and I had to remain vigilant, constantly aware of the danger. I remember a tense moment on a crowded train, when I spotted a man who seemed out of place, his eyes scanning the carriage with an intensity that made my skin prickle. I quickly gathered my belongings and moved to a different seat, my heart pounding in my chest. The memory of Elias's sacrifice and the importance of my mission kept me going, fueled my determination to see this through. Solitude was my constant companion, and the emotional toll of my secret life weighed heavily on me. There were times when the loneliness felt suffocating, when I wondered if it was all worth it. But I knew that I had to push on for Elias, for myself, and for the sake of the mission. As I looked out of my apartment window, watching the city come alive, I felt a sense of purpose, a sense of direction. I was no longer just a grieving young woman. I was a guardian, a keeper of secrets, and a force to be reckoned with. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, but I was ready, armed with Elias's diary, the artifact, and my own resilience. As the war finally drew to a close, Aurora felt a deep sense of relief wash over her. The artifact, once a burden, had become a powerful tool in the hands of the Allies. Her transmissions of crucial intelligence had frustrated enemy plans and contributed to several strategic victories. The quiet satisfaction of having fulfilled her mission brought a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. With the world slowly rebuilding, Aurora sought a new beginning. She returned to Willow Creek, the small town where her journey with Elias had begun. The familiar fields and streams welcomed her back, and she felt a sense of closure, as if she had finally come full circle. She dedicated herself to helping war-affected families, using her experiences to support those in need. Her work in the community, though quiet, was a testament to the strength and resilience she had discovered within herself. The artifact, now a cherished symbol of Elias and her past, was carefully stored in a beautiful music box. Its presence was a reminder of the love and sacrifice that had defined her journey. As she looked at the box, now a part of her legacy, Aurora felt a sense of serenity. Her past was a part of her, but it no longer defined her present struggles. Years passed and Aurora grew into the wise, loving grandmother I knew. Her eyes sparkled with a deep wisdom, and her laughter was warm and familiar. She embodied a sense of peace and serenity, a testament to the journey she had undertaken. I would sit with her for hours listening to stories of her life, of Elias, and of the war. Her diary, now in my hands, revealed the depth of her character, the sacrifices she had made, and the love she had shared. As I looked back, I realized that Aurora's seemingly simple life had been built upon extraordinary experiences and profound sacrifices. Her story was one of love, loss, and resilience, a testament to the human spirit. I felt grateful to have known her, to have been the recipient of her love and wisdom. And now, as I held her diary, I understood that her legacy was not just a collection of memories, but a blueprint for living, a reminder of the power of love and sacrifice to shape our lives. As I sit here, surrounded by the familiar comforts of home, I find myself lost in the pages of Grandma Aurora's hidden diary. What was once a mysterious artifact, tucked away for safekeeping, has become a map to her soul. Reading her words, handwritten with such care and vulnerability, has changed me in ways I never thought possible. It's as if I've discovered a new dimension to the woman I thought I knew. I recall the stories she used to tell me as a child, tales of fairies and heroes, of brave deeds and secret missions. At the time I thought they were just imaginative fables, meant to entertain and inspire. But now I realize they were so much more. They were metaphors for her own extraordinary life, a heroic journey that unfolded against the backdrop of war and turmoil. The more I read, the more I see the parallels between her struggles and my own. Aurora's legacy isn't just the artifact or the secrets she kept. It's the silent strength she embodied, the wisdom she shared through her stories, and the unconditional love she showed to everyone around her. Her life was a tapestry of complexity and beauty, woven with threads of courage, sacrifice, and devotion. As I reflect on her journey, I'm struck by the realization that her experiences continue to inspire and guide me. I see now that her stories were never just about the past, they were about the present and the future. They were about the choices we make, the paths we take, and the love we share. Her diary has become a personal treasure, a guide that helps me navigate life's twists and turns. It's a reminder that our stories, though unique to us, are interconnected, and that the love and wisdom we share can transcend time and circumstance. In finding peace and understanding through Aurora's story, I've come to realize that our lives are not so different. We all face challenges, we all struggle, and we all search for meaning. But it's in the sharing of our stories, in the vulnerability and openness, that we find true connection. I'm grateful for the gift of her diary, for the window it provides into her soul, and for the lessons it teaches. As I close this chapter, I'm left with a universal message, one that I hope will resonate with others. Discover your own hidden stories, and share them with the world. For it's in the telling and the listening that we find our true selves, our purpose, and our place in the world. Grandma Aurora's story has shown me that the power of love and sacrifice can shape our lives in ways we never thought possible. I hope that, in sharing her story, I can inspire others to find their own path, to cherish their own legacy, and to leave behind a story that will continue to inspire generations to come. As we close the chapter on Grandma Aurora's remarkable story, we're reminded that life is a tapestry woven with threads of love, sacrifice, and resilience. Her journey, marked by courage and devotion, teaches us that even in the darkest times, there's always hope. The discovery of her hidden diary not only reveals a piece of history, but also shows us that our legacies can transcend time, inspiring generations to come. If Aurora's story has resonated with you, then its purpose has been fulfilled, for it's in sharing our experiences that we keep the flame of love and wisdom alive. As you reflect on the power of her story, I invite you to engage with our community. Please leave a like, subscribe to our channel for more stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul, and share this journey with those who might find solace and strength in it. And as we part ways, I leave you with a question that invites you to ponder the depth of Aurora's story. What secret do you think Grandma Aurora held dearest to her heart, and how can you apply the lessons of her life to your own path?